Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question again today is for the government leader in the Senate, and it regards to Michael Kovrig and Michael Spavor. Leader, my question concerns China's decisions to charge our fellow Canadians, Michael Kovrig and Michael Spavor, with spying over 18 months after they were unlawfully detained by Chinese authorities. Canada has not had consular access to either Mr. Kovrig or Mr. Spavor since mid-January, not even by video, Leader. Minister Champagne once called China a beacon of stability, predictability, a rule-based system, a very inclusive society. Besides expressing concern and disappointment, what has the minister actually done to try to gain access to the two Michaels in the last few days? Does your government even know if the two Michaels have had access to lawyers since the charges were laid? And after 560 days of their detention, will the Prime Minister now become directly involved in working to secure their release?
Senator Gold.
Senator, thank you for the question. The government remains exceptionally concerned and distressed at the situation that continues to exist with regard to first the arbitrary and illegal detention and now the arbitrary charging. It remains a top priority for this government to seek redress and justice. With regard to your question, the government is continuously calling for their release. It has been raising it at the highest levels, including interventions directly with the President of China. And we share all Canadians' distress that, as the Senator mentioned, that there has not been access to consular services for some many months since mid-January. We continue to press the government of China to grant proper access and for access to legal counsel. I do not have the specific answers to your questions, but I can assure this chamber that the government treats this as the most important priority in respect to its relationships with China.
Senator Platt.
Leader, this morning, a Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson stated, and I quote, "China urges the relevant Canadian leader to earnestly respect the spirit of the rule of law, respect China's judicial sovereignty, and stop making irresponsible remarks." Canada takes no lessons from China on the rule of law and judicial sovereignty. Yet aside from the few usual platitudes he has spoken over the last 18 months, the Prime Minister has not involved himself directly in this case. And it's not just in this case. Serious as it is, China targeted our canola exports, and now it's aiming at our hardwood and softwood exports. The Prime Minister did nothing in response. Leader, if the Prime Minister still won't intervene at the highest levels even now, as the two Michaels have charges laid against him, what would make him become directly involved?
Again, thank you for the question. I think it's important to distinguish, honourable senators, what may or may not be said publicly by whether the Prime Minister or other ministers of the Crown, and what may be going on in other ways and through other mechanisms. I do not tire of reminding this chamber how terribly complicated this situation is and how fraught with danger it is. The government continues at all levels, from the Prime Minister through his ministers, to be actively engaged in this, in the effort to provide for justice and release of the two Michaels who are held arbitrarily by China.